Hey everyone, so today I will be sharing the final video post in the Art of Exploration. And if you have been following me through this video series, then I trust that you have been able to create a mindful space, reframe your questions to ask the right questions, and also surrender so you are able to, so synchronicities and magic show up in your life. And you are able to follow those synchronicities and the messages that are showing up to having your questions answered by the universe or to finding the answers within yourself. So when we are on the right path, our lives are full of insights, and the solution to every problem shows up. The answer to every question should be easy and effortless. It could be that you ask a question in the morning, right? Say, for example, you ask a question in the morning, and in the afternoon, you're in a bookstore, and you randomly pick up a book. And as you just randomly open to any page, the answer to your question is right there. That's what we call a synchronicity. That's what we call co-creating with the universe. So in case that is not happening in your life, then understand that there are some blocks. And so today we're going to talk about what some of those blocks could be and how to deal with them to clear them so that your life can flow and you can be in synchronicity and magic. So first of all, if you had trouble creating a mindful space, then there may be some blocks around what it means to come back home to yourself. So coming back home to ourselves is all about being fully present with ourselves. Many people don't want to come back home to themselves because there may be a traumatic memory or a painful situation that they have going on. And coming back home means to actually deal with that, to confront it, to confront their suffering, and to find a solution to dealing with that suffering. They would rather run away and disconnect from themselves. So we do this because there's some part of us that's really scared to look at our own suffering or to be completely honest with ourselves. I find that when people finally do come back home to themselves and they begin to reconnect with their truth, there is a significant shift in things like anxiety and depression and addictive behaviors. So let's use a metaphor to describe what it means not to be home. So if you have programs that it's too painful to be here and you don't want to deal with the current situations or painful past situations in your life, then some part of you is running away. And when we run away, it's like we have this beautiful home, but we go away and we leave the front door open. So you know what happens to a home when the door's left open and the person who lives there is gone for weeks, months, maybe years. And so when we finally come back home, we have to deal with all the dust, the debris, the dirt that's moved in, as well as maybe some homeless people that may have moved in and are now sleeping in your bed or helping themselves to the food in your fridge. We have to have the courage to deal with all of that and to clean it out so that we can come back home and occupy our space, right? So that's a good metaphor to use for what it means to come back home and what the home essentially looks like, or what it might look like if we are running away from our home. So if you have been in too much reaction and you were somehow unable to exit out of that reaction, then one of the blocks you may have is a lot of fear. And this fear is what keeps you trapped in this whole fight-flight stress response. And it shows up continuously in your relationships, in the circumstances of your life and situations. Now, what you have to understand is that this fight-flight response is really an attempt to keep you safe, but it's an illusion. Underneath that, this energy of fear, fear is often stuck in the solar plexus chakra. And the solar plexus chakra is also called the powerhouse because it's where our power is. And so when the solar plexus is gummed up with a lot of fear, we cannot step into our true power. So when you heal these fears, you naturally find yourself in a more peaceful state. You naturally find yourself in much less reaction. Okay, let's move on. If you had trouble reframing your question, if you had trouble reframing your question and opening it up so it was a good, powerful question that opened up possibilities to co-create with the universe, then some of the blocks that you may have are preconceived ideas and judgments on how things should look like, or what the outcome of a situation should be. Let's move on. Let's do another one. If you had trouble surrendering completely, if you had trouble surrendering, there may be blocks around trust and faith. Now, trust and faith are really to do with the heart center right here. And these are really big issues in our society today. The opposite of trust and faith are distrust. So if you're not in trust, infinite trust, you're in distrust. And blocks around distrust or lack of trust often show up as the need to control people, other people, or situations. Underneath this control, there is fear, a whole bunch of fears. Some of those fears could be things like fear of being hurt, fear of being betrayed, fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of destruction, fear of rejection, fear of helplessness, powerlessness. And these fears keep us trapped, and they prevent our ability to open up to infinite trust, open our hearts to infinite trust. And not only does this sabotage our power, but it also, when we're in control, it prevents us from relaxing into the ability to flow with life, because we have to have trust to flow with life. And letting the universe create possibilities for us. And oftentimes, when you heal this, then you'll find that you can surrender. And there are many levels of surrender. And so the deeper and deeper you go into surrender, the more you will find yourself being in the right place at the right time, or being just open to allowing abundance into your life. So I'll share a little story with you. This past week, one of my clients came in with two big struggles. One was with regards to his relationship with his partner, and the second was with regards to his life purpose. And in both of these cases, he told me that he knew what the destination looked like, but he didn't know how to get there, and that was the struggle. So as I questioned him, he tried to convince me that he was really surrendered and he felt very, very peaceful and open to guidance. But as we started working together, it became apparent that he had preconceived ideas and judgments on both situations. And that there was a part of him that was trying to control both of those situations so that there were outcomes that he had visioned. So in this situation, what he was actually doing was sending out two very different messages to the universe. On the one hand, he would say, I'm completely open and please guide me and show me. I'm open to possibilities. Yet on the other hand, he was saying, what I want is for you to create a path for my desired destination, for my desired outcome. And so these two confusing messages to the universe were literally showing up as nothing and just as a struggle in his life. So healing and releasing this part of him that was trying to control the outcomes means that he can let go of what the destination needs to look like and simply focus on the next step, on being able to follow, because when we are in absolute surrender, we surrender and trust, we're able to follow the next thing that shows up, the synchronicity that guides us to the next step. And remember what I said earlier, that the universe has a bigger vision than anything that we can possibly think up with our mind. Our mind is full of limitations. It only knows how to create limitation. And so when we open ourselves up and we're willing to trust the universe, then synchronicities show up. There are insights, synchronicities, messages, and they guide us. Each is a step forward. So such surrender can be a really scary place for many people. Our mind needs to know where we are going. But truth is that our mind creates limitations, right? If you let each step unfold and you trust the universe will guide you to miracles and magic. I remember one of the retreats that I attended with Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh many years ago. And someone in the audience asked Thich Nhat Hanh or Thai a question. And the question was, you've accomplished a great deal in your lifetime. So where do you see yourself? What is your next goal? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? You know, what else would you like to accomplish? And so Thai's response was a very, very interesting response, because he said that there is nothing to accomplish. There is no destination to get to. That when we have somewhere that we need to get to, and that somewhere is in the future, we create a lot of worry and anxiety within ourselves because we're trying to think of ways of how to get there. If you simply focus on being in the present moment and living, you're able to follow the guidance of the universe. And Thai's response was, I will wake up tomorrow and I will do exactly what I did the day before and the day after. I mean, the day before that. And that's what it means to be mindful. Thai also talks about human beings, and we think that point B is birth and point D is death. And we think that somehow we didn't exist between point B. Point B was when we came into existence. And at point D, we cease to exist. And so we only have this time between point B and point D to accomplish something. But in fact, it's not true, because there is a continuation. Point B is simply when you changed from one form to another. And you will exist in this form until point D, where you will change into a different form. And so if it's a continuation, there is nothing to accomplish. And when we set ourselves up trying to accomplish something, we actually create a lot of worry and anxiety within ourselves. All we need to do is focus on being in the moment and living. So anyway, I hope that all of that has been really useful for you, and it's helped you to create a more surrendered place, a place of trust within yourself. And some of you are experiencing those synchronicities in your life. Thank you.